Hello, I am Dr. Michelle Simone Rencher. I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a researcher, and I'm also tonight a guest host of the Doc Chat. Tonight at the Doc Chat, you have tuned in for a special event. Our founding father, the person who was the brain trust behind the Doc Chat, I should say, has given me the virtual microphone to invite some people on who many of you may not know. But after tonight's episode, you're going to know them all. They are like I am, natives of Nassau, Bahamas, natives of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The entire Bahamas is represented on this episode tonight. We are all doctoral graduates. We are all women of color. And we are all beautiful and bold. And most of all, we are all brilliant. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I'm going to ask my guests to tell a little bit about who they are before we begin our incredible discussion. First off, I have Dr. Shannon. Dr. Shannon, can you let us know, first of all, where you are in the world, a little bit about your journey, and how did you get on the Doc Chat tonight?
Hey, hi everybody. Shannon Frith, Dr. Shannon Frith. Yes, see, I'm still even getting acclimated to the name, right? Thank you so much for having me. I am living proof. That's what I am. I am living proof that in all things, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, in all things, God works it all together for our good and for his purpose. I am
He
a
does.
proud Bahamian with deep roots in New Providence, Abaco, and Exuma. And also, let's throw a little Grand Bahama in there because I've been in
Okay.
Grand Bahama for the past 25 years. That's where I call home right now. And so, a little background, I am a certified public accountant, but only by trade. I am a servant leader by heart. That's who I am. Both my master's and my doctorate degrees are in the area of leadership, which ironically, I got the opportunity to serve in the executive leadership role before I even started to pursue higher learning. So, if that isn't an example of God calling, right? What does he do?
Absolutely.
If that is not an example of God qualifying the call and not calling the qualified, then I don't know what that is, right? So
Absolutely.
just under 2 years ago, I was pulled away, divinely pulled away from my corporate executive role to be positioned, to be pruned, to be prepared spiritually for purpose, which has now been identified as marketplace ministry. So it was confusing, scary, and it was quite uncomfortable. It still is, actually. But guess what? I realized some time ago that I promised God, I gave God my yes. And so what he did, he's cashing in on that promise. And so
Well,
that's a little bit
excellent.
about me.
All right.
I'm
Well, Dr.
looking
Shannon,
forward
we are
to
happy that you are here tonight at the Doc Chat. Next up, we have Dr. Latira Munnings. First of all, ma'am, welcome to the Doc Chat. Can you let us know exactly where are you in the world? I see a lot of sunshine and beach behind you,
Oh,
so I'm not quite
sunshine and
certain where
beach.
you're from, where you
I
are.
wish I was on the beach right now, but and since I couldn't be, I figured a picture would be sufficient for right now.
That would
I am
suffice.
Dr. Latira Munnings. Yes, yes, just for right now, just for right now. It'll satisfy me. I am Dr. Latira Munnings. I am originally actually from New Providence, like many of you, from the island of New Providence. I have deep roots in Eleuthera and Exuma as well. Ragged Island, oh my goodness, those are my people. I have been living in Grand Bahama for almost 18 years now, so I have transitioned to the island of Grand Bahama, much like Dr. Shannon has. And it is an exciting venture right now to be on the Doc Chat with so many educated Bahamian women. So I'm loving this arena already. And that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for that. Dr. Crystal, you are waiting in the wings. And ma'am, if you would let us know, where are you and how did you begin this journey? How did you get here at the Doc Chat?
Boy, listen, that's a long, long story. Good evening. I'm Krista de Gregory. I hail from the magic city of Freeport, Grand Bahama. We're glad to have so many adoptees in our fair town. Y'all
Seaweed,
is,
seaweed.
and we don't even have a name for y'all. We don't even like call y'all like, I don't want to get into it.
Is
I
it
also have,
transplants?
yeah.
Transplants. Former
Well,
Nassau.
that's nice.
Sorry,
In Bimini,
seaweed.
in Bimini, they call where I do have some very deep roots on my maternal side. As far as all of documented history up until my mother, everyone in my mother's father's side was born in the island of Bimini. But they call you when you are not native there, driftwood and seaweed. We don't
Okay.
do things like that in Grand Bahama. You're welcome to the Magic City. Um, I hold 3 degrees in history, a bachelor's, master's, and PhD. I also hold a second master's in curriculum and instruction, master's in education. I currently work in sunny Daytona Beach, Florida, at the Bethune-Cookman University. It has, boy, listen, when Dr. Kayla and I get into our little when we talk, I know I have one story that I can bring up for her, but that's all right. That's all right. Not now. I can be nice now, but about 10 minutes, I can remind you of something. But it is a pleasure, again, to speak with so many brilliant and beautiful and qualified Black Bahamian women during this Women's History Month. Um, Despite Black History Month having been on and off for about, I think, 24 to 48 hours before it was on again. So it's just great to have this opportunity to be together.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
bringing up the rare. Bringing up the rare. Of course, we got to save some of the best for the last, right? We've got Dr.
Ooh,
Kayla Bullard. Can you help us understand how did you, ma'am, get on the doc chat and a little bit about your journey through the doctoral process and anything you'd like to share as your brief intro?
listen, I don't even know how I got here. I just popped up, okay? But listen, I have a beef, okay? I'm one of those, what they call seaweed driftwood implants. I'm too, originally from New Providence, Nassau, excuse me, Nassau Village proper, all right? And
Oh,
then I found myself in Grand Bahama, and I mean, I fell in love with it and never left until I, transplanted myself here in the US. So, spent several years in Texas, Fort Worth, and I became a cowgirl and loved it. And then the beach started calling, so I had to get closer to the beach. There weren't any opportunities home, and I found myself in Georgia. So I'm currently in Savannah, Georgia, y'all, and
okay. A Georgia
I
Beach.
learning.
just say, do
Yeah,
you
Okay.
know I was just in Savannah, Georgia 2 weeks ago?
okay. So
Like
now you
last
know.
weekend, not this weekend, weekend before.
Now you know. Okay, so you
So
got to
now you
find
know.
a
And so,
way.
see, that is a good point for us to go ahead and pivot our conversation. So, at the
Yes.
Doc Chat, we not only talk about doctoral studies and the journey to the tassel, because we all know the tassel was definitely worth the hassle. But at the Doc
Mm.
Chat, this is also where you come to find your community, because a lot of times you may know a lot of information about research and all of your subject matter areas. But as you just heard, Dr. Crystal and Dr. Kayla happen to be crossing paths in the same community, one for a period of time, one for a longer period of time, but they cross their paths tonight at the Doc Chat. And so as we get into the meat of our conversation, ladies, we are all brilliant, right? We've got on bold colored lips tonight. But beyond our boldness and our academic pursuit, I want the world to know a little bit more about each of you. And I wanted to begin with understanding what told you that doctoral studies was for you. Because, you could have done a whole lot of other things. You could have said yes to a whole other journeys, many other things that you could have pursued. But each of you and myself have selected and opted to go into advanced studies. Many of you had master's degrees. Dr. Crystal had 2 master's degrees, but she decided to go beyond the first and the second degree, or even the third degree, to pursue doctoral studies. Dr. Crystal, since you are laughing and smiling about the 2 masters, can you give us a little bit of snippet as to why doctoral studies was for you?
Well, the first thing I like to tell people is that growing up in Freeport, I only knew that you could be a doctor of two things, um, medicine and teeth, as I say, or dentistry. I did not know that you could be a doctor in any field. And so, like many Bahamians of my era, and certainly I think previous to it, I don't know what this current generation's iteration says, but everybody wanted to be a politician. And so I thought I was going to go to school and I was going to do political science. And I don't know, somehow I was going to back end my way into being prime minister. Um, but I took
You
so
never know.
many, well, I took so many history courses that I ended up needing to be a history major. And from there, deciding, yeah, the next steps would really be a doctoral degree. I finished undergrad at Fisk. I crossed, as they say, the local Mason Dixon line of separation, which is West End, from the colored side of town to the less colored side of town, where I attended Vanderbilt. I got my master's and PhD there. And the second master's was just actually necessary. I found myself without visa sponsorship. And so what did you do? I just went back to school. And
Okay.
I taught in the day and I went to school at night. So again, it wasn't a natural path in that I think, again, especially on Grand Bahama, I cannot recall a single person being a doctoral holder in some other field of study, although there may have been at the College of the Bahamas, but they were unknown to me.
Right.
So I just started reading and writing and researching and essentially being a professional nosy person because I didn't know you could get paid to essentially find out people
Read
business.
and
So
write
once I
and,
found that out,
and
I was like, wow, I would do this for free. So that is how I back ended myself into the PhD and then into the second master's. But again, when I think about it, my interest in the field really began long, long ago. When I was a little girl, I would sit on the carpeted floor of my grandmother's bedroom on Saturdays, and she had one of these little Samsonite, the hair roller cases. She had the whole set, but by then I didn't see the whole set, and that is where she kept the obituaries from the family. And every Saturday, I would open it up and sit on the floor and I would read them out. And I said, well, Mama, who's this? And how are they to me? And what does that mean? Oh, how is such and such? And so really, my love affair with history began as an interest in my own family, in my immediate history, in my personal and familial history. And
right.
that is what has brought me to this place.
Okay. Well, thank you. And as you mentioned, you had a chance in life to pivot.
Mhm.
I keep hearing this conversation of pivot, and so we're going to pivot down to Dr. Latira Munnings. You are working currently in the University of the Bahamas, and many persons would say, well, why did you need a PhD to be in the University of the Bahamas? What put you in that space to say I'm going to do this thing?
I asked myself the same question. I really did. Like, why do I need a PhD? I really don't. Honesty, and truth. I'm gonna give my truths. My mother
Okay,
caused me to pursue a doctoral degree. I won't even lie.
okay, your
She,
mommy.
I think,
Okay,
I think really she deep down wanted to do her doctoral studies because she's been an educator all of her life. She retired as a principal and living retired life right now, but she really wanted a doctoral degree, is what I really truly believe. And so she's like, "Man, Tira, you gonna do a doctoral?" And I'm the oldest, so it's like, "Tira, are you gonna do your doctoral studies? So your sisters could follow suit." And I was like, whenever they start doctoral studies that don't have to do a thesis, because I don't like to write, unless you can write the paper, I'll do all the schoolwork. I could do that. But I really, really, really do not want to write a paper. And so, and my mom is an English lecturer, by the way.
oh
So
wow,
that's so
okay,
so that's really what started the seed planting for me. That
okay,
planted that
okay,
seed. And then just being in higher education and seeing the different avenues and doors that having a doctoral degree opened that's where my real passion came in. So she planted the seed, and the university watered that seed, and it just took root. And
Excellent.
so that's what really propelled me. And I'm not sorry that I have pursued
That's
and
excellent.
accomplished the
Excellent.
degree.
So right
So
now here at the Doc Chat, we've got two women who are from different parts of the Bahamas. One born and raised in Grand Bahama, one from Nassau, Bahama, who currently lives in Grand Bahama. And they both chose doctoral studies for different reasons, but yet still somewhat similar because family was at the root of the reason of the why. And so to carry our discussion a little bit further, Dr. Kayla Bullitt is waiting in the wings to tell us why she chose doctoral studies and why now in life, because she could have done it probably eons ago because she clearly had the capacity. But without any further ado, Dr. Kayla Bullitt, why doctoral studies? Why? Pray tell,
Good
why?
evening. Good evening. Listen. Okay. One, I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and I was introduced to the first Black chancellor of the university. Her name was Dr. Gladys Stiles Johnson.
Okay.
I got the opportunity to work for her while I was there. And so, as an older, non traditional student, of course, I found myself living in a $400,000 house with a white maid driving a Volvo. And listen here, that was life. And
Living
that
it, doing
lady,
it,
I
doing it
was
with a 242.
living then. I went back to finish my degree at 25. And she exposed me to a quality of life that I could have as a Black woman.
Okay.
But at the time, it wasn't practical because I was married. And so I went back home. And when I reached the apex of my career, teaching K through 12 education, after 20 plus years, and I realized that, okay, I couldn't get a promotion because I was working at a church school and I wasn't of that faith.
mhm,
I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Then, of course, UB matriculated and they were doing a lot of stuff in Grand Bahama. They were getting university status. And at that time, I was told if I wanted to get on board, I had to get a PhD degree, I had to get a doctoral degree.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
only that, it was self actualization. It was always something I wanted because I was told I couldn't have it. Because
Yes.
I was told that it wasn't a place for Black women. I was the type of person, well, I can show you better than I could tell you. You understand? And so, true, that was the motivation on the inside because I was always, I can dare you. You tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. And really,
Okay.
I just had that aspiration. Never aspired to be here as long as I've been here. Wanted to be home.
But here you are.
Here I am.
And here you are at the Doc Chat tonight, of all places, right?
Oh,
And so, last but by no means least, Dr. Shannon is waiting to tell us all about not only why she looks fabulous this evening, but she wants to help us to understand why, of all things, with her CPA and the airline industry and all these things, she wants to know. I want to know for certain, even if our guests don't ask just yet, I would like to know why doctoral studies and why now in life? Why?
I think I have a similar reason to Dr. Kayla, somewhere in there, but my own started a little different. Somewhere in my mind, I thought I would have been able to pull it off, but not quite. I had this grand plan to retire by the age of 50.
mm,
Okay.
I don't know how that was going to happen when my profession really didn't take off until I was about 33. But because I serve a big God, I was like, we
Okay.
can make this
Okay.
happen, right? 50, I retiring. But I'm only retiring from corporate. So when I retire, I had this plan that I was going to give back specifically to my alma mater,
Okay.
big college of the Bahamas, now University of the Bahamas, right? I wanted to do so. I knew that I was, there was more for me. There was more to just working, going to school, achieving your academics, and then working for the man for the rest of your life. That's what we call it, right? I knew that there was more. I knew that this life was more than me. It's really more than us. So it's to serve others, and that's what I was positioning myself for. I knew that at the time, just like Dr. Kayla said, University of the Bahamas was coming in, and they had to, some of the lecturers, the at the time, the staff needed to get their doctoral, right, to be able to do that. So I figured I'd get ahead of the game. I had some years before I got 50, so I started in 2018. I said by the time as I reach there, then I'll have it, right?
Okay.
And we had Hurricane Dorian, and I was the airport director, and there was one delay to the next, and postponements, and so I'm here now, 3 years past my retirement planned age, right? And not fully retired, semi-retired, transitioning from corporate now into like I said, into purpose. And so I'm 3 years shy, but hey, we're doing
But
it.
you're here.
And that is how to the
So
doctor.
there's a rapper that says, started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies, we are here at the Doc Chat, and the chat is filling up. People from the 242, people from all over the world are watching us right now. And so, ladies, if you ever had an opportunity to not only take a moment, take a deep breath, and think about your doctoral journey, think about the application form, think about your selecting your topic to write, think about dissertation, think about the final papers, all of those, all the coursework that it took to get to that process. Think about the IRB process and all of the moving parts. If you could give someone in a minute a little bit of advice to help them on the journey, because again, remember, we are at the Doc Chat, and this is the space where people come to learn about the doctoral journey, to see doctoral success, but also to get a little bit of encouragement, because there may be someone watching who has yet to apply, who is still struggling in that first semester, that first year. And we know that it takes more than a few years to get a doctoral degree. Dr. Shannon just mentioned 2018. Life happens. And so, as women from around the world watch us right now, this is Women's History Month. There's somebody who was trying to make their own life's history by becoming probably the first doctor in their family, the first person who anybody that they know may know. So, Dr. Crystal, I need you in a minute. Give me a little bit of advice for someone who is considering or in the process. Just a little bit of advice, because
Dr. Crystal say don't do it.
just a little
You
bit,
know,
just
I
a little
mean,
bit.
listen, consider it that's two different things. You want them to did because I have lots of advice for people who are in the process. If you're considering the process, I mean, for me, really, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be honest. People really need to decide whether they are committed, truly committed to learning. If you are just here for the title, I'm not, that ain't my kind of thing. So
Don't do
if
it.
you,
Don't do it.
yeah, I mean, don't, in my opinion, just me, because again, we don't need, in the same way that we don't need incapable mechanics, we don't need incapable PhDs and EDDs and
Absolutely.
every other D,
Absolutely.
right? So if you ain't gonna do it good, if you're not committed to doing well, just leave
Don't
it
do it.
alone. Because it's gonna be hard. It is going to be hard. Um, Now, for those who are already in the process, I have two pieces of advice. The first is bathe plenty. I know. I no 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 seriously. Take lots of showers, and uh,
Why
because
though?
because it restores, because it's gonna be
Oh,
hard,
oh, okay.
seriously. And
Okay.
sometimes you're gonna have to cry. I don't know in other people's instance, but in my instance at Vanderbilt, when I finished in 2011, I was in a class that included just 4 Black graduates from the Department of History, and we were the first Black graduates in the Department of History with PhDs at Vanderbilt in Vanderbilt's history. So um, that's one thing, and then the other thing I always say to people that it's kind of like if you a member of a Black Greek fraternal organization, Don't Drop Line, essentially I tell people don't quit. Find the weakest person you know with what you want, and you say to yourself, if they could do it, I must see could
I
do
could
it too.
do it too.
Because I can tell you that, because ain't no way they can have it and I can't have it.
Yeah.
So those and it seems laughable and comedic, which I'm sure it is to some degree, but I am very earnest in that. You really need to self-care. You need to, because it's going to be difficult. And the other thing is you need to be committed, because again, it's going to be difficult. So you have to find whatever coping mechanisms, and what support systems work for you, family, friends,
Absolutely.
Not drinking.
exercise,
Not drinking.
sunshine, water.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You
But
gotta
you
do
know what?
something.
Without further ado, thank you for that. Thank you for the advice, because we all know that
Oh,
water. In the
Jesus,
Bahamas, we
thank
say
you.
drink your water and mind your business, right? That's important. So if you're gonna drink it, you must also hydrate on the inside and the outside.
I
So
can tell you that.
without any further ado, Dr. Latira Munnings, we would like to know a little bit of advice that you may have for someone who is either considering doctoral studies or who is in the process right now. They could be in their first class or getting close to the finish line and getting a little tired, or getting a little weak. What can you tell them about pushing on, pressing on?
Balance. Balance.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Balance.
ma'am.
You need balance for everything in life, and that's one of the things. I'm so happy that we actually had a class in that, and one of my professors, Dr. John, I'll never forget. He said to me, he said, "Latira, you have to have balance. Yes, you're doing your doctoral studies. Yes, you're working. Yes, you have a family, but make sure that you have a balance. It's not only study, study, study every day. I mean, although I needed to probably, but it's not just study, study, study every day.
But
You
that's
have
good
to have
advice.
that.
That's good
You
stuff.
you have to have that family time. You have to have that time when you're taking a break and stepping back, because that's going to help you. The more balance that you have during the doctoral process, the stronger you will be at the end, and the stronger you will be able to finish. And so
Absolutely.
that's one of the things that I would say, have balance. Make sure you take your time, just like how we usually say, you work hard, so you play hard, you study hard, play hard as well. Get that balance. Make sure you have that family time. Make sure you have that time for you to relax, even if it's 15 minutes that you have to take at the end of every day or the beginning of every day. That time for just you to just don't think about anything. Just think about where it is that I am right now and what I need to be
Yes.
doing. So that's for me the advice I would lend. Balance. Make sure you have balance.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Dr. Shannon, I heard you mention a little earlier that you had career transition in the midst of your process. You had new career, changing one job, going to a different job, and you also mentioned a hurricane. Now, a lot of our viewers may have never experienced a hurricane, let alone Hurricane Dorian. So you have a very unusual twist on the doctoral journey. Not only was it distance and virtual, but your experience was a lot different than many of your cohort members who are based in the US. Can you help us understand a little bit of advice that you would wish to share about the doctoral journey for somebody who's either yet to start or in the process right now?
I would say unequivocally, you need to have a strong why, because that is something that is the only thing that held me through the 7-year journey. And not because I wasn't able to academically do it, but it's because life continues,
Mhm.
especially if you're serving at an executive, at a leadership level. Life continues, your plate is full,
Mhm.
you're wearing many different hats, um, you know, marriage, divorce, sickness, all of those things are still
Mm,
happening while doing
absolutely.
this. It does not stop. And so, if you do not have a strong why, you will quit. I'm telling
Mhm.
you, you will.
Mhm.
I quit about 10 times in my mind.
Wait.
My body would not allow me to stop. I
Jesus.
took a nap. I got up early and I was at it again. I quit at least 10 times in my mind. So my why is what kept me. So have a strong why.
Mm.
All right. So again, ladies, you've heard the gamut, but we still got a little bit more to go. So far we've heard about taking care of yourself. You got to drink your water. You got to take a lot of showers. You got to allow yourself to breathe. You must have a moment of respite every now and then. Allow yourself the grace to quit in your mind 10 times or more, even if nobody else knows about your quitting process. Even if you don't tell anybody, you don't share anyone, or maybe you tell somebody and maybe they are encouraging you, but you have to know the why. Dr. Kayla, can you add something onto our list of what must doctoral persons who are either considering or people who are in the journey right now?
Listen, you better know Jesus.
Listen, I was leaving that one because let me tell you something. Only God can do it.
Only
Yes,
you
won't
listen.
he? Won't he do it? Listen,
Listen.
the fact
Only
that we
God.
are all here on the doc chat is proof
Mm.
positive that there is a God who looks high, who living high
Listen.
and looking
And
low.
looks
And
low. I can tell you
listen,
that.
for persons around the world who are watching this right now, who are tuned into the doc chat, we are all laughing
Listen.
Me and
because we
Dr.
all
Kayla,
know,
we about to start
we
cutting
all
up over
know
there, boy.
that
Because listen,
our journeys have been nothing but a testament to God's
Mm.
amazing grace. The tenacity and even the why is oftentimes fueled by God's grace. Now,
It
many of us,
exactly is.
none of us have a degree in theology, none of us are theologians,
No.
but we all know some scripture that we held on to get to the finish
Woo.
line. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my why. And what kept me motivated was the fact that Latira mentioned her mom pushing her into that process because her mom really wanted to do doctoral studies and time and place wasn't available to her at that time. My late father should have had a doctoral degree years and eons ago. But for a number of reasons, life happens, as we all know. But in my journey, what fueled my study to doctoral was the fact that I have two little ones who I wanted to be able to tell them later in their lives that don't tell me what you can do.
Mm.
Show me
Mm-hmm.
what you can do. Don't
Yeah.
tell me what you can do. If you have yet to attempt, then you can't tell me what you cannot do. And so, ladies, we're going to make a quick shift in our conversation. I promise you a little fun tonight because we've been talking about doctoral studies and the tassel is worth the hassle and the reason and the why and the how to get people motivated to stay the course because many of us have very lengthy programs. But above all else, we are all wearing bold colored lipstick. And I had a very specific request. I wanted you guys to wear your lips and be smiling because the world is watching us. We are from the 242. We are from the Bahamas.
Hey.
The entire world knows that we are Bahamian women. If you have been to the Bahamas or you have the Bahamas on your bucket list, there are some things you need to know about the Bahamas that we are 700 islands and keys strong. Most of us on this call have families from Bimini in the north all the way to Inagua in the south. Each
Mm-hmm.
community in the Bahamas is unique, but the one thing that happens common throughout the entire length and breadth of the Bahamas is that we know how to have a good time. And so, without any further ado, ladies, one of my favorite movies to watch is the Marvel series Black Panther. I'd asked you guys
Mm-hmm.
before about superpowers, but I got to
Mm-hmm.
tell you a little bit about my superpower. So, in the Black Panther series, they talked about Black girl magic. That phrase became common throughout the world of Black girl magic. But right now, we represent in Black girl magic. So, I'd like you each to tell me what is your superpower and how does the world know when you walk in the room? So,
Mm-hmm.
let's begin with Dr. Kayla. Superpower, and how do we know when you walk up in the room having that cape on? How do we know?
Listen, I'm an encourager. I'm a motivator. And I just shine. When I reach, I reach. Everybody know me because I take charge. That's just
Yes,
who I am. So it's the boldness, it's the tenacity, and it's just I'm just effervescent. That's just
yes.
it. I carry that. I conduct myself like that, and I am just who I am. So encompass
That's
all
it.
of that, collect all
That's
of
it.
that together. That's my superpower.
All right. Dr. Latira Munnings, superpower. How do we know when you get in the room? And one more question. What color is your cape?
Ooh, my cape has to be purple because that's my
Oh,
favorite color. I'm
okay.
sorry, I got to go out the traditional because purple is royalty. Purple is elegance and luxury. So that is my, and everyone that knows me knows that I all the time have something purple with me. I have something purple around me right now, but I won't pull that out right now. But my superpower, I think, is I don't know exactly how to put this, but I'll just say it. I think my charisma. People are drawn to me because of my personality. They just seem
So
to
you're
think,
magnetic. You're
yeah, they
magnetic.
just seem that I have
Okay.
that charm, that charisma that says, okay, she is confident about herself. She knows what she's talking about. She's gonna sit back and observe if she doesn't know this topic very well, and then we'll see her start communicating. But once she starts talking, she's gonna command you to pay attention to what she's
Excellent.
saying. So,
Excellent.
so I think
Dr.
that.
Crystal, Dr. Crystal, I see you got on some is that kente or you got I see a little African vibe going on. So I know you've been to Wakanda a time or two. Ma'am, Black Girl Magic in the house. Can you tell the people from around the world your superpower and how do we know that Dr. Crystal is in the room?
Well, listen, I think that most people again might say that I am charismatic and and those things are my giftedness, but I think my true giftedness is courageousness because it's my courage that has invited me to these rooms and that has kept me in these rooms and also um, informed me when it was time to leave certain rooms, right? So
Because you need to
I,
know. You need
I
to
yeah,
know.
courage definitely for me. I think, but I think when people mistakenly characterize that as kind of, especially in little black girls, as argumentative, bossy, sassy, womanish. That's another one. But these are all qualities that we sometimes resent in little girls that are priceless in women and definitely needed to survive a rather challenging world.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So we've just heard about being charismatic. We heard about being strong-willed and being passionate. And we also heard about being courageous. Dr. Shannon, please help us understand where your Black Girl Magic comes from and what kind of superpowers you have. And I forgot to ask Dr. Crystal the color of her cape, but we can see she probably is
Red.
multifaceted. It's red.
But I
She
like a lot of
okay.
color. But I
Crimson,
choose
crimson.
one red.
Okay, okay, all right. Dr. Shannon, same question. What's your superpower? How do we know when you and your superpower have entered in the room? And of course, what is the color of your cape?
My cape is purple and gold. You don't
Ooh,
have to ask what that is all about, right?
royal,
Straight
regal.
up,
Ooh,
straight up on my way to millionaire status, right?
okay, okay. So, ladies, to carry the conversation also in a similar vein, we all know the world knows our part of the world for its sun, sand, and sea. But the world also saw Super Bowl last year. Rihanna graced that stage, right? And she had the belly bump and all that going on, and the whole red cat suit. So, my question to you is if Rihanna calls any one of us, we are at the doc chat. She may be watching. I don't know why she's watching, but she may be considering doctoral studies, or she may have a question. And she says, all of y'all wearing bold colored lips. I have an idea, but I'm not quite sure where to go with it. If Rihanna, if Riri, our sister from Barbados, calls you and says, what color or what shade should Fenty put on blast and call it the 242 color? Because we know she had on that red lipstick on the Super Bowl. But what shade, what color should she have? Dr. Kayla, you got on the bold lip right now, but if you were going to be the spokesmodel for Fenty Cosmetics and you were going to say it got to be this color, because I'm from the Bahamas, it got to be this color. What's the color, ma'am? What's the
It
shade?
has to be teal. Definitely has to be the
Ooh,
ocean. It has
Ooh,
to be the water.
you take my
the
color.
ocean, the
Yes,
ocean. Yeah,
that's
I
it.
see it. Dr. Shannon, same question. What color
I
you gonna give to Rihanna?
I went to say aquamarine, but it's the
Okay,
same thing.
Yeah.
okay.
We have to
Dr.
stay in that shade of blue.
Dr. Latira, what say you?
She's still they still in my answer because I don't know why Dr. Kayla won't go with teal because that's what I
Okay.
was gonna say. But
Okay.
if
Well,
you
you know
want
what?
me to say a different color, I can
It's
because
up to
I want
you.
to say black for the strength of the people.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh. Okay. So
I'm
y'all
gonna be
really
bold
getting
with the
deep into the
black.
colors. So,
Yes,
Dr.
I'm gonna get
Crystal,
deep.
same question. If we recall you right now, what you gonna say?
Listen, that black sounded real good. That sounded like real Nia Long, the whole dark lip thing. Listen,
And the
that was a vibe.
smoky
That was a
eyes.
time to be
Comfortable,
alive. That was a
Yes.
nice
comfortable.
time. I don't have a color, but I can give her a name. She, and I know most people think Bahama Mama, but if she call it Tingham, man, listen.
That's it. That's it. She gonna sell out in John Bull. She will sell out in John Bull,
I
right?
have a Tingham, man. Tingham,
Well,
Hang on.
I'm gonna put a
Tingham.
twist on it. I am
Oh,
Chippenham. I am from Chippenham in the middle of Nassau, and I believe that the color should be flamingo pink.
Ooh,
Mm.
ooh.
Flamingo,
On
and it gonna be
black
Me too.
called
people,
flamingo.
you
Flamingo.
ever see pink on black people?
Yes, I wear it all the time. What's wrong with you, girl? Bye. Of course, we
Okay,
could wear flamingo
Fuchsia.
pink.
okay,
No, it ain't gonna be fuchsia. It gonna be flamingo pink, cause only we
Okay.
know but flamingo.
what the no. Need to do what it is, Astria Gardens.
Adastra Gardens.
That's it. Yeah, let them sample from right there.
Ladies, we gotta get back on track in our discussion because we're gonna go down into the deep dark places of our persons in a minute.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask you, how has access to higher education changed your life? We got to get back on track because people are now been inspired to think about starting or at least progress, make really good progress. They drinking their water, they're giving themselves balance, they doing all the things. But we need to know before you even start, or even if you're in it, one of the motivating factors for many students is to understand how doctoral graduation changes you. How does it impact you? Apart from being a part of the doc chat, obviously, Dr. Kayla, how has access to higher education changed your life?
Um, my life has now become bigger than just a rock that I was planted on because now I
Mm,
have a much more global perspective and the world is much bigger than my neck of the woods.
mm,
So when I look at that, I realize that it's all encompassing as well as it's changing because I find myself now in technology, teaching computer science, and information is changing every second.
yes,
So it
yes.
forces me to do what I don't want to do, and that's to keep up. Because I realize that if I don't,
You
I'll
get
be
left
left
behind.
behind or rolled over. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely.
been for me.
Dr. Latira, same question. How did access to higher education impact you? Now, you're a little bit different because while Dr. Kayla is in the academic space of the K through 12, you are in higher ed. So, how did access to higher education impact your journey professionally or even the rest of your life?
For me, I think access to higher education actually gave me a boldness that I didn't know I had. Shannon met me the other day, and we were talking. And one thing she reminded me of is that everything that I need is already implanted in me. And I think the boldness that came as a result of me being able to complete my doctoral studies was like, oh, I did have this in me. Like this was almost like I didn't know that I could do this, but I've done it. It's done. I'm finished. Um,
Absolutely.
and so I think that boldness that let me know that, hey, you had doctoral in you all along. You just didn't have it in front of your name, or someone didn't give you a piece of paper to say it, but you already had it. And so now you get to show that to the rest of the world. So I think the access, that's
Mhm.
how it's changed my life. It's given me more of a boldness to person seek me out. They do research
Okay.
on me. I'm like,
Okay.
you did what? Okay. You researched me? Why?
Absolutely.
But
Same question, Dr. Crystal de Gregory. How did access change you from being a little girl in Grand Bahama with family in Bimini, and to now here you are doing so many things? The last time you and I spoke, you were hopping on a plane and going here and going there and doing all the things. How did access to higher education change that little girl from Grand Bahama?
Um, yeah, I'm hopping on and off a whole lot. I tell people I diet. I mean, I'm grateful, but it is work. I'll put it to you this way. It relates to my earlier comment. I think like as a little brown skinned girl, red hair, I would get really orange and my hair would be like blonde in the summer, bleach blonde. I wasn't the kind of girl that people liked. I mean, that adults liked, that especially adult women. I the joke I was gonna pull with Dr. Kayla is, I didn't get invited to the debutante ball, because no, 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 it wasn't your fault. I'm just saying, in the environment I was in, I was not thought of as a person who was suitable as a girl, a teenage girl who was suitable for these kinds of things. I
Events
mean,
and
it's like, for
things.
example, I was president of the Key Club, but I couldn't be in the Anchor Club because it was very political. And there were
Mm,
women who perceived a strong child, girl child, as an assault on who they were. And
ah,
I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And I really didn't, although I thrived in primary school and high school, it was really, really rough. And when I got in college, I wasn't any more or less capable than I had been in high school. I just had a more supportive environment, and an environment that invited thought. It wasn't just regurgitation. It wasn't just agreeance. It wasn't just who went along to go along, or who made the adult teacher feel good about themselves. It was about, to some degree, I mean, yes, there's always that, but to a greater degree, there was an appreciation for, okay, you seem like you seem like you smart. Like, let's see what we could do with that.
okay.
And that really opened up my horizons. The degree, of course, has opened up professional doors. It opened up a pathway to permanent residency. That's one very big thing. The other is, the platforms that I've been invited to, from the New York Times to Time, you know, on and on and on I could go. But, those things were really powered by not just a doctoral education, but higher education in and of itself. I was the first
Absolutely.
in my mother's family to go to college. And just one more thing, because I know I'm getting long here, but one of the things that I said to my cousin very recently, girl cousin, who is, many of my cousins are high achievers in the United States, and at this time, having again pursued higher education. But I said to her, what would have happened had I failed? Had I dropped out of college, had I gotten pregnant,
Mm,
you're 5 years behind me. Would that have been weaponized against you? But people have said, no, 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 well, Chrissy gone and that didn't work out for her, so you can't go. And so that's one of the things that we don't always give ourselves credit for, the fact that our success has created pathways for others.
absolutely. Absolutely. Pathways for others that we know within our family structures, our DNA. Many times, our former high schools, our communities. But many times, as you can see on the doc chat, people are calling in and chiming in from all over the globe, because we, women of the 242, Nassau, Bahamas, Grand Bahama, and all islands encompassing of the Bahamas, are all doctoral graduates. And we are here to inspire, to educate, to inform, and most of all, entertain. So tonight, we also want to find out from Dr. Shannon, how has access to higher education shaped or even shifted your life?
I would say that I'm looking forward to all of the things that Dr. Crystal mentioned. I am looking forward to all of it. The doc chat has, for one, the doc chat has gotten me global thus far. So that's one thing it did, right? I would
Yes.
not have been here hadn't I been a doctor. So it's already working out. But I always tell people that throughout my entire higher education pursuit, that it was never about the paper for me. It was always about the growth that I got throughout the journey. It has, listen, I don't think that I don't know how people do it, but my educational pursuit has given me an advantage professionally. The journey has, not the paper, the journey has, because what it did was I was getting my entire educational pursuit. I had a full-time job. And so I was able to make application to what I was learning. I was able to execute that right
The
away.
practical.
So
The
that gave
practical.
me an edge. And so that opened up the door for me to even get to become to be a part of the executive suite before I even pursued a master's degree. Isn't that crazy? And so
Actually, it's not crazy because it just confirms that, and oftentimes the while we say the tassel is worth the hassle, oftentimes many persons who are even considering pursuing doctoral studies, they are typically ready for the rigors before they even enroll.
yes.
Sometimes you just have it in you to complete. It's a journey, absolutely, but the journey, as we know, begins with the first step. That
Hmm.
first step is typically the hardest step. And then, of course, the final step is kind of tricky along the way, too, for many people. But oftentimes, the work and the rigor and the academic aptitude, the capacity for that level of knowledge is typically inside of us long before we even began to enroll, long before we even considered it. And so
Mhm.
I agree with each of you. The fact that, you each had different reasons for your why. You were each motivated differently. You each studied something totally different. None of us have the same academic background. No two of us went to the same schools. No two of us have the same date of graduation. No two of us have anything in common outside of being from the Bahamas and being now on the doc chat. And so beyond all those differences, we do have some commonality. And our commonality is also the fact that we recognize access to higher education has changed the overall trajectory of our lives. Many of us would have been someplace totally different. Many of us would have had a different kind of job, a different kind of career path, a different kind of lifestyle, different tax bracket for certain. You would have had a different outcome to many of your life's experiences had it not been for access to higher education. And so today, as we are on the doc chat, once again, we got to keep the conversation going. And so we got a lot of persons from around the world who are hitting us up and saying amazing things about the journey so far. But ladies, I have to ask you once again something about you that nobody else knows right now. So we are all from the Bahamas. And I have to reiterate that people from the Bahamas are typically very different in our taste buds. We are very different. People like to tell me, oh, there's a Caribbean restaurant down the street, and it tastes the same because they cook rice and peas, but we cook peas and rice. There is some of us has used padilla, some of us has used the kosher sea salt, from Inagua, and so there's so many differences in the way we cook. But ladies, can you tell the world your favorite spice? If you gotta pull something out that you're gonna put on something, but I don't care if it's meat, I don't care if it's chicken, fish, lamb, I don't really care what it is. You can't tell me kosher sea salt. I've already said that one. Okay. But Dr. Crystal, I see you getting all spicy already. What is your favorite pull out spice?
Garlic salt, baby.
Okay.
Boy, garlic salt will take you far.
Is it garlic or is it Gallic?
Listen, whichever one you want, as long as you get the right one, you can be good. You put it on
Okay.
that, and I can
Okay.
take that far. I
Carry
can
you
tell you
far.
that.
I
Okay.
was going to ask if garlic is a spice because that was my one.
Well, you know what? It
The
could
only
be
thing, the
yours.
raw
Yeah.
garlic though. I prefer the raw garlic.
You like it fresh.
Okay, okay,
Fresh.
okay.
Do you use the whole clove or you smash it a little bit,
I
mince it up?
I blend it so
Oh,
it becomes a paste.
fancy,
It
fancy,
becomes a
fancy.
paste. Yeah.
Ah,
Top chef in the house.
I can
Dr.
tell you that.
Latira. Dr. Latira, what you got in your spice cabinet, ma'am?
I was about to ask the same thing with this garlic because I was like, is garlic a spice? Or make me start thinking.
It's
But
an herb, right? Isn't it an
my
herb?
husband, my husband introduced me to this one. It's roasted garlic and herb seasoning. If I don't put that in every dish I have, something wrong.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not
Yeah,
cooking.
eating it.
Dr.
Um,
Kayla, what say you? You are not Gallic trade
No,
too?
girl. No, no. Listen,
Drop the word and let me
um,
off.
the Jamaicans just call it Scotch bonnet. I just call it cold pepper.
Go.
Okay.
This is it.
All
So
right.
for our viewers from around the world who may not have roots in the 242, there's a
Oh,
little pepper. There's a
Jesus.
little bit spicy, kind of hot every now and then. It
Little bit.
a little bit. Okay,
it
sorry.
depends on your
Yeah,
taste
Kristen.
buds, of
Okay.
course. It resembles a bell pepper, as Americans call it, but it is very, very small, very, very cute, but the flavor is not cute. So we want you to be careful. Be careful. If you haven't experienced it before, be careful. But Jamaicans call it Scotch bonnet. We call it goat pepper. Ultimately, it will change your life if you don't use it. If you use it, absolutely. Somebody in our chat is mentioning that they use lemon pepper. They
Oh
obviously
yeah,
from
lemon pepper.
Nassau.
That's another good one. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you might as
Lemon
well put
pepper
in
for the win
paprika
on
there.
everything.
You gotta put in some
Listen, people
paprika.
saying good evening from around the world, and so we got to say similarly good evening, ladies. We have talked about the why you decided to do this thing. We talked a little bit about inspiring people who are considering. We have talked about lipstick. We talked about all kind of things, but we have not said the one thing that I believe people from around the world need to know: that if you did not pursue higher education, what was your 6-year-old self job going to be when you were 6 or 8 or 10? Because everybody is different. When you were in those primary school, for those of you who don't know, is elementary school in the US. But if you can go back in time to your 6th, 7th, or 8th grade or 8-year-old self, what was your job going to be? Dr. Crystal, please
Mhm.
start us off.
Whitney Houston.
You were going to be Whitney Houston.
You that was gonna
Okay.
be a job.
Mm-hmm.
Whitney.
Mm-hmm. Whitney Houston. I was gonna be a singer. I was
It's
gonna be Whitney
possible. I can
Houston.
hear you sing. Okay.
As they say, Pacifically. Whitney Houston.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see
Mhm.
it. That
That's gonna be
okay.
Whitney
So
Houston.
now do you sing, or you just thought about a
Yeah, at
persona?
that time I sung a lot more than I do now.
Okay.
I was a little songbird in grade school. Mary Starr, a legend, live on. Yeah,
Okay.
little bit.
Whitney Houston, AKA Whitney Houston. Okay. Okay. Now we know, right? Dr.
Mhm.
Shannon, what was young Shannon trying to be back in the day when you were in primary school? What was your job going to be?
I am not going to lie to you. When I was 6 years old, I was not thinking about no work.
6. Okay. Well, how about
Does
7
that?
or 8 or 10
Who does
before you
that? But
left primary school?
I do remember somewhere in my teenage years wanting to be a stewardess.
Me
Mm.
too. Me too. Okay.
But I realized that I wasn't the right skin color because that was the time when they were hiring all them gals from Elutra.
Yes.
On Bahamas Air. Okay.
So
Okay.
I had to pivot.
Okay. Okay. Well, I see Dr. Latira is on the beach right now. She may have an interesting previous job aspiration from back in the day. Dr. Latira, what was your job? What was your job back in the day? What did you want to be? Who did you want to be?
Well, I'll tell you, I really wanted to be an accountant because my dad was a big mathematician. And so I was
Okay.
learning fractions when I was 5. So I thought accounting would be
Ooh.
the best step for me to take because I had numbers all around me all day, every day.
Wow.
I was the walking telephone directory. My dad would be like, Tara, what's the number for Kelly's? And I would rattle it off without looking in the book. So
Okay.
yes, numbers was me. So accountant.
Okay. So we got an accountant, we got Whitney Houston, and we got a stewardess, flight attendant. Dr. Kayla, same question. What was your dream job back in the day before you left 6th grade? I'll go there.
I did not have a dream job. It certainly, and guess what? It certainly wasn't what I'm doing now. Being an educator, a teacher, no, that was never it for me. But there was someone who influenced me at about around 10, 11, 12, and that was the late Dr. Miles Monroe. Listening to him on Saturday mornings just changed me, and it made me aspire to greatness. I knew I wanted to be somebody, but who I didn't know at the time.
Mm.
But always hearing his voice in the back of my head. But
Okay. Well, ladies, I also wanted to be a stewardess at one point in time, but my earliest thought of something other than what I saw every day did not even happen as early as 6 or 7 years old. It happened before I even entered QC in primary school. I think I might have been 3 or 4 years old, and I went to Mora Lumber Company, then on Shirley Street. My mommy tells the story that I met with Santa Claus, who was the brother of Spence Finlayson. It was in the person of Roosevelt Finlayson. I call him Uncle Roosie, but he had on the Santa beards. I didn't know who he was at the time. He called my name, called me out of the line, and asked what did I want for Christmas. And I told him I wanted a passport and a suitcase. Now, my mommy was a little, flustered, like, who asked Santa for a passport and a suitcase? Because I was going places, right? I was going
Uh-huh.
places.
Mhm.
Ladies, my response to you is to kind of guide us into our next topic point. I wanted to know what or where in the world can people find you? Where can people find you if they want to say this was a really cool conversation? These ladies are just keying it up. They are inspiring, they are brilliant, they're beautiful. Where in the world? I was taking my passport and suitcase to go someplace. I was on that path long time. Many of you travel for a living. Many of you travel to different destinations to speak and to do different things, but I haven't heard it just yet. So this is your opportunity to tell the world where you head next. Where can they find you? And most importantly, what are you doing when you get where you're going? Dr. Latira, you've told us that you're currently at UB, but where can people find you if they want to connect with you? They want to find out more. They have questions for you beyond what I've asked so far.
Well, I am on LinkedIn. I am on
Okay.
Facebook, and I use my name. So those are places they can find me. Currently, I've just gotten back from an IVLP program with the United States government. I was in the, sorry, International Visitors Leadership Program. So I've been with 22 different countries. So my name is known in now 22 other countries other than the United States.
Hey, hey.
So
Okay.
I'm a
That's what we
global
doing,
citizen.
right?
I'm a global citizen. I'm practicing what I preach, right? I'm in global education at the university. I'm practicing what I preach. I am on that journey. So I am my next stop. Who knows?
So
Because
in other words, your passport is up to date and you could travel. You just need
always
an invitation. You need an
I say,
invitation.
if you say let, I'm go.
That's it. That's it. Dr. Crystal, I know you are a Rolling Stone. You don't stay still. So we
No,
need
I
to
don't
know where
think
can
so.
we find you? Where can we find you and what's going on?
Mostly in Daytona Beach. Other than that, Nashville. I speak in Nashville this weekend. It is Women's History Month, so I'll be back in Daytona next week. Um, yeah, I move around a lot. I tell people just find me on my phone or find me on one of these platforms. And please don't just feel like you have to flood my email because I'm not I'm not like a set up phone conversation kind of person. Just call the phone. And if I can answer, I will. If I can't answer, I can call you back. And we can keep doing that until we do it. But
Absolutely.
everywhere. Because I mean, my phone has always been me wherever I am. Although I've had some recent challenges over the weekend, but yeah, we're back up and running.
Okay, Dr. Kayla, same question. Where in the world are you? And how can people find you if they want you to come on their stage, on their platform, and give them so much more of what you already shared?
if you need to find me, the best way to find me is probably Facebook. Inbox me on Messenger, and definitely the telephone. Please don't text me. So I'm not even going to bother to give you my number because, hey, it's not going to work for me. And Right now, I'm located in Savannah, and I'm on the ground, boots on the ground. I'm not going anywhere right now because my daughter is about to graduate, and so that's where my focus is. So now, after 2025, if you need me to go anywhere, my passport ready.
Absolutely. And bringing up the rare, but of course, by no means least, Dr. Shannon, how can people find you if they have a question? You do leadership development for corporations and for professional development and individual coaching, one on one and small groups. How can people find you if they want to enlist you? They want to bring you into their organization and make all those things happen. How can people find you?
Either social media, I'm on LinkedIn, my name, I am on Facebook, my name, I am on Instagram as well, and also my email. You can use that as well. It's my first and last name at gmail.com.
Okay,
But
excellent.
I am so ready to travel anywhere you need to go till I have two passports. So you know,
Ready, ready, locked and loaded, ready.
always ready. So I am global. I am not only even Bahamas. I am global right now because with social media, you're not just one place. You can be anywhere at any time.
Excellent, ladies. I am just so overjoyed. You all have done my heart proud. You don't know what it feels like, and I certain you all know. Shouldn't say you don't know, because I do know you do know. When you are from the 242, our islands are amazing. They're beautiful. The people are full of energy. We have the most insatiable perspectives on life. We have colorful language. We can dance like no one's business. We have the most amazing food. Our music is everything. But every now and then, there are those of us who have a desire for more. We want to know more. We want to experience more. And those of us who are just like that, like myself, we entered this thing called doctoral studies. And for some reason, we all recognize the importance of what we were studying. We each examined something totally different. We have different academic programs. We each studied like it's no one's business. We read, we wrote some more, we edited some more. Many of us cried, many of us lost and gained weight. We kept our families going. We are daughters, we are sisters and cousins and nieces. And most of all, we are Bahamian women. Women who were born in the 242. Our country is small, but we mighty. We here. We are
Amen.
here. Son Michaud, the linguist from South Carolina, says we out here. We
We
out
out
here.
here.
We doing it. We doing it for the 242. But ladies, before we end our discussion, there is someone from in our viewing audience, because we know this is currently going to be streaming live right now on LinkedIn. We are the Doc Chat, and LinkedIn is our home. But we got a second little, summer home on YouTube, and this is going to be out there for the world to see. I want you each to take a few seconds and tell someone who's watching, probably after this is going to be airing live. There's going to be someone who's watching this next week, next month, next year, or whenever. And they need to know what you believe, not only about doctoral studies, but I want you to give somebody something that's going to make them put their feet on the ground tomorrow, get up and keep it going, because people have life. Life is happening to all of us, right? But we have had a unique experience. We have all recognized our why. We've all pursued that. We are still doing amazing things. We are, as I mentioned, we all wear multiple hats. But above all else, that one hat that we all need to wear tonight is that of being someone's sister in the spirit. So if you would, Dr. Crystal, can you help me
Why me?
give
Why
somebody
me?
else, because you
Why me?
because you
Why me?
ready,
Mish? Why you
because
Why
you
sitting on
not
the
you?
chat? Why me?
Why not you?
No, you
Got the
because
good.
you're
chat and voice,
ready,
man.
because
All
you're
I'm
I can't
ready.
saying,
even think, man. Let me think about something, Miss Brown. I had a rough day
We will
today. Let
come
me
back
think.
to
I'll
you.
go
Yeah,
first.
come
I
back
Dr.
have
to
a
me.
Shannon,
problem.
Dr.
I'll go
Shannon,
first.
can you help us know? Tell somebody in a few seconds, because time is getting close. A few
Mhm.
seconds. We want to encourage someone to put their feet on the ground tomorrow, to keep doing what they're doing, to pursue the best that God has for them, and most often to be who they were designed to be. Few seconds, ma'am.
You can answer the question or you can ask it. You
I
right
asked the
there.
question,
I would
what do
say
you have
pursue.
for them?
Okay, I would say pursue purpose. You cannot go wrong when you pursue purpose. To pursue purpose, you have to have a relationship with God.
Right.
it goes without saying.
Yes.
Purpose is where it's at.
All
Mhm.
right. Same question, Dr. Latira Munnings. Same question. What do you have for someone who is watching us right now who may be doubting, maybe having a rough day, a rough patch? What can you do to help them know that the women from the 242, we got you. We here for you.
Exactly that. Support. Support. You have a support team. You just need to reach out to them and let them know that you need assistance. They won't know until you open your mouth. So that's support. And like that's why I love piggybacking behind what Shannon said. So ditto to what Shannon said about purpose, but purpose with the support. Because trust me, I had, oh goodness, so many people step up to the plate. I can't call their names all because I'm going to miss someone and they can be mad with me. So I had too many. My village became so much stronger. Support with the purpose.
Absolutely. And again, in the Bahamas, we like to say, closed mouth don't get fed. So,
Oh yes.
Dr. Kayla, there's somebody who may not even know to ask for help. They may not know or have the kind of support or the kind of network or the kind of community that we have all come from and that we all still have. What can you offer them right now?
Holla. Open up your mouth and scream. Just
That's
scream,
it.
because sometimes it's good to exhale. But I'll say if you could conceive it and in
Okay.
your heart you believe it, with God's help you will achieve it.
Amen.
But just
Amen.
scream.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just need a good scream. Just let it all out.
Mm.
Sometimes you need to quit in your mind too. You could quit as many times as you want. Quit. Just don't stop.
You might believe it. You
I
can't
love
afford
that.
to
I'm going to
quit.
borrow that, Dr. Shannon. You can quit in your mind, just don't stop.
Don't
Quit
stop.
in your
Don't
mind.
stop.
As
Yes.
many
Okay, I
times as
like
you
that.
want.
I like that. I like that. Ladies, we talked about spices. People still putting spices in the chat. People still telling us you got to use lemon, pepper, and thyme. People still telling you got to use some sour as opposed to onions. People still
Ah,
coming into the conversation. They still chiming in. They still coming in. So, ladies, we gonna be here for a minute. Look like, but the bottom line is, we talked about our doctoral journeys. We each have had a different why, but there is commonality in that. Our commonality comes from we come from the 242. We come from a very tiny place on the map. Most people from the US and Canada and the UK and all around the world will tell you, if you ask, that they've either A, been to the Bahamas, or they have it on their bucket list. They want to go to see our sun, sand, and sea. They want to eat our good food. They want to dance like they can't dance anywhere else in the world. They want to have a good rush out. Either it's at Gombe or at Junkanoo Morning. They want to experience all that we understand is to be Bahamian. But the one thing that they did not know until now is that we are brilliant. We are bold. We are beautiful. And most importantly, we are intentional.
Mm.
The Bahamian populace is amazing people. We are not only intentional in our academics, but we are a part of the doc chat because we are each gracious. You
Mm.
all said yes to me when I reached out. Many of you were like, "What? What is this?" But y'all all said yes to a very unusual question on a Thursday evening. Here we are wrapping up Women's History Month because you guys said yes. And before we go anywhere, we must say thank you to Dr. JT Turner. This is the man who
Yes.
has an amazing, brilliant mind who recognized the need for the doc chat. And not only did he say there has to be a space for persons to talk and engage and connect, but also for people to recognize that doctoral studies is not for the faint of heart. Those of us who had the tenacity and the temerity and the capacity to go on this journey, we must have a space where we can talk and engage and connect and laugh a little bit, but most of all, inspire, inform, educate, and even entertain a little
oh,
bit.
Jesus, help
And so,
me.
if you have learned anything tonight, if you've enjoyed this conversation, I ask you to please like, share, and of course, follow him. Not following me and all these ladies, but follow him also. He's got an amazing journey, and it's important for you to recognize that he has allowed me. This is my fourth time to host the as the guest host of the Doc Chat. And so, Dr. John T. Turner, thank you so much for giving me your virtual microphone, for trusting me to
Thank
find these
you.
amazing women from the Bahamas and to give you a new audience from persons who are from all over the 242, from Barbados, from Haiti. I see Jamaica chiming in. I see Trinidad and Tobago. So all of CARICOM watching us right now. So we are doing amazing things. We represent not only the Bahamas, but of course the Caribbean community.
Yes.
We are from where the sunshine never sets. We are from where we all know that if God ever goes on vacation, he goes to the 242. And so,
Woohoo!
ladies,
That's right.
ladies, ladies, we are having a wonderful evening. But as we know, all good parties must come to an end. You
Mm.
don't have to go home, but you have to leave this party. The dog chat is going to be ending in a few moments. And I have to say once again, ladies, thank you so very much for trusting me with your Thursday evening, trusting me to enjoy Black History Month. That was last month, but to show the world that Black excellence continues day in and day out. We don't change our complexions. We are melanin inside and out, and we are Black girl magic. Even if we have white hair, we gonna be Black girl magic until the day goes long. But the most important thing is that we are doc graduates. We have master's degrees, undergraduate degrees. We all have doctoral degrees. We have finished. The tassel was certainly worth the hassle. We each are accomplished. You are amazing. I love you for joining me on this journey tonight. And above all else, to the world, if you need some inspiration, if you need a little bit more journey, a little bit more energy to go through the rest of your journey, recognize that Doc Chat is where you're going to find more such discussions. So, from all of us here at the Doc Chat, thank you so much for joining us. This is Women's History Month. The month is still going on, but please come back to the Doc Chat where you will learn even more about doctoral studies and so much more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. I am Dr. Michelle Simone Rencher. I'm a truth teller. I'm a storyteller. I love to host amazing stories. And above all else, if you need to find someone to join your next episode, feel free to give me a call. Take care.
Good night.